ladies and gentlemen. Hi. Oh, jeez. I'm still shaking a little bit. Ah. You might wonder why we're late today. I know it's just become kind of normal for me to be late to these, but today is kind of a weird one, especially for me. So I don't actually set alarms in the morning. I just wake up at certain times. But last night I was having serious issues getting to sleep and staying asleep. So I woke up today at about 10:02 my time. That would be about 26 minutes ago if you're paying attention. So I don't know about you guys. When I'm late for work, that's just an adrenaline shot from hell. So I've been running around like a madman. Like, okay, gotta get dressed, gotta get the computer on, gotta get the setup going. Oh crap, today's Friday, so I gotta update the website, I gotta update YouTube. Ah. So like I said, I'm still shaking a little bit from the adrenaline rush. So today we're covering the Paper Mario series, which I hope at least some of you are interested in. I know it's not the most popular of franchises that I've covered, even though I consider it to be one of the better franchises I've covered. And I mean that with sincerity. Oh no, Cloud, no, I have like a massive sore neck right now. So I actually played a little bit of Super Mario RPG yesterday. And in fact, that's an interesting point. As much as this is like a neat thing, let's just pause this for a second. Back in the 90s, Squaresoft had enjoyed significant success, and it started reaching out to other major Japanese developers to start doing collaboration works. There were several that came out of this. I'm not going to go down the list, because the only one that really matters for our purposes is they decided to reach out to Nintendo. Now, this is going to sound like a strange statement, but once upon a time, Nintendo and Squaresoft were really close, like very buddy-buddy. A lot of the developers at both studios knew each other personally and considered each other friends. You know, and it was one of those kind of things, right? They would go to lunch to the same places, kind of deals, right? So this is one of the reasons why so much of the old Squaresoft stuff was all pretty much universally on Nintendo consoles, even when other consoles started opening up. Now that's relevant. I want you to remember that. So they made a game called Super Mario RPG, which is widely considered to be among the best RPGs ever made. Here, let's go ahead and get some music from it going. Look, I don't have the original. What do you want from me? And so they were like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. We're going to have this game, and it's going to be fantastic. A lot of people said that that was insanity. The very idea of making a Mario RPG was considered laughable. There's no way that could work. And I do have to admit, to my own chagrin, I was one of those people. I've actually mentioned this many times, but since it's very relevant here, I'll go ahead and paint the target over my forehead. I was one of the morons who said this would never work, just like a first-person Metroid, which is the other big one I was an idiot about. So I was like, yeah, no, this is never going to work out, and it's going to be dumb. I don't even know why it's a thing. I guess I'll rent it, because this was back when renting games was kind of a big deal. So I rented it, and I played it, and I basically immediately fell in love with it. I should mention there was a gap between it coming out and me renting it, because I had other stuff to do, and I had other stuff to play. In fact, I was out at my dad's, visiting my dad for that summer, and he was like, so listen, I've got a few work jobs to do, so when I'm at work, let's go ahead and rent you a couple SNES games so you could play while I'm at work. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And I got a few, and the other two were not particularly memorable. But again, Super Mario RPG. And I basically fell in love with it. It was just exactly the right type of adorkable, and silly, and stupid, and fun. And it also was incredibly innovative, although I don't think I really recognized that back in the day. I'm going to talk a little bit as we go through Paper Mario of how many ways that Super Mario RPG was innovative. But the long and the short of it is that it basically invented a lot of concepts that nowadays are still semi rare when it comes to RPG design. Now, it did have its flaws, and whenever we do an in depth classic of Super Mario RPG, I will go through those flaws and illuminate them for you. But one of those flaws is actually directly relevant for this game, too, but I'll talk about that later because it's not really relevant right now. So, Super Mario RPG was a smash hit, critically and financially. And sorry, my bloody nose. You know what happens. You're dry and anyways. So Nintendo was like, this was an awesome experience. So Nintendo, obviously, they couldn't attach their main team to developing the second game because they were working on some other projects. So they reached out to Intelligent Systems. Now, the SNES, and that's it, Alex. It's never really been ported, and it's never really been retranslated or remaked or anything. Mostly because of dual rights issues, which is the usual. So you can play it on the SNES. I think it's on the SNES Classic. I'm not actually sure. But anyways. So they reached out to Intelligent Systems, who are the people who worked on Fire Emblem, as well as the Advance Wars series. Or what would eventually become the Advance Wars series, I should be more accurate. And they said, hey, we'd like you to work together with Squaresoft to make Super Mario RPG 2. And Intelligent Systems were like, hell yes, that sounds awesome. So they got on board. Yuka Tsujiyoko got on board. I mentioned her specifically because she's the composer of the music in this game. And I feel like she actually does a very excellent job of the music in Paper Mario. All the Fire Emblem team got on board and like, yes, they started crafting a story. They were going to continue the thread of Geno and the Star Road. That was going to be the main plot arc. It was going to be about Bowser having learned all of this stuff about the Star Road from Geno. So Bowser was going to invade the Star Road, which was going to lead to Geno having to join the party again, except this time they're going up against Bowser. It was always intended to be a little more lighthearted than Super Mario RPG. If you haven't actually played Super Mario RPG, it's a game that starts off ridiculous and stupid, and then it just gets dark, like weirdly dark. Like they start talking about how people are going to be processed into weapons, and you just start thinking, really? So, horrible stuff, right? Paper Mario skips most of that. It's actually by far the lightest entry in the Mario RPG series, going back and forward. Now, this is right about when the N64... Well, no, let's rewind a second. This is right about when Project 64 was abandoned. Now, some of you might not even know what I'm talking about. There was actually another console that Nintendo was working on after the SNES that was not the N64, and that project was completely abandoned. It was going to be a disc-based system, and quite a few developers did quite a bit of development on several games that were supposed to come out on it. Anybody who's ever followed the Earthbound series knows what I'm talking about. But this is another example of that. In fact, I think... Did I actually bother to grab that? I feel like I did. Give me one moment, please, just to make sure. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of time to get ready this morning. Oh, yep, I did. It's right here. Boom. Okay, so you see this. This is actually an advert for Super Mario RPG 2. Let me resize it a little bit here so you can kind of see it. And you could see just the graphics look completely different. Again, because this is originally going to be on a different system. The DD64, yeah, it says right there. And so you can see where they were going with the original graphic style, which is similar but basically different. I mean, if the way Mario looks, look in the lower left here. You can tell Mario looks completely different right there. Completely different sprite. Anyways, but yes, Mario RPG 2. This was the big thing. And they showed footage of it. They had a demo playable. There was a whole bunch of things leading up to this. Then the project, the DD64, was canceled. This caused many issues, and in fact, to be completely blunt, was probably one of the dumbest things Nintendo has done in its entire career. And I'm not speaking hyperbolically when I say that. That had ramifications that honestly took them until about the Wii to bypass. Because that soured their relations with third-party developers. That made it so they had to they forced themselves back into the cartridge mentality for the N64, which, while it sold well, was kind of a critical flop and only really was held up by several very strong first-party titles. Why is this on random? Sorry, hang on. It also meant that when the GameCube came out, they had this weird mini disc thing instead of a proper CD, so they were limited in development side on that as well. And once again, they had to really wean people back from third-party development. And even when the Wii came out, even then people were like, You could argue fairly that from a financial and business perspective, it took Nintendo up until the Switch to fully recover from their decision to cancel the Project DD64. And I mean that with total sincerity, no hyperbole here. I'd say that's debatable. I'd say they've mostly found their footing around the GameCube era, critically, and then the Wii era financially, but that's just my take on it. Now, that, of course, as I mentioned, it soured their relations with just about everyone, including Squaresoft, who were like, you're an idiot. And that basically led to Squaresoft taking, among other things, pulling out of Super Mario RPG 2 and taking Final Fantasy VII to the PlayStation. Again, I want to reiterate that those two actions both happened because of the canceling of Project 64 DD. Just to reemphasize my point again. Could you imagine a world in which that actually came out, if F7 actually came out on a Nintendo console originally? Like, I'm not even sure I can estimate the impact that would have had. Anywho, Squaresoft was gone. And this meant that Intelligent Systems, who were supposed to work with Squaresoft and had already started working with Squaresoft, were suddenly left on their own, and they had to immediately retool the project. Now, if you're paying attention, this is actually in many ways identical to what happened with Final Fantasy XV. A few variances, obviously, a few differences, but the key point is they were well into development of an existing game with an existing story, and then they suddenly had to gut that, rip it apart, and turn it into a brand new game. Now, I don't mean to sound derogatory towards FF15, but I feel like Paper Mario succeeded at this phenomenally. This is actually an astonishingly well-designed game. And I will be discussing many of the reasons why as we go through it. And I find the story to be surprisingly enjoyable despite its lightheartedness and general cavalier tone. So credit to Intelligent Systems for just turning this one around and basically starting the Paper Mario franchise. Which brings me to my next topic neatly, the timeline. I told you guys I'd talk to you about the Mario timeline. Well, I actually put together this graphic. Apparently I set it as transparent. Hang on a second. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down here, because this is just a nice blank background. Give me a second. Hang on. There we go. That's a lot easier to see. Okay, so now this doesn't include every game, because not every game actually matters. And it's probably worth noting that this timeline has its issues, mostly due to the nature of how they design their games. I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. Miyamoto is weirdly anti-story when it comes to his games. Sometimes he wins that argument, and sometimes he doesn't. That leads to what is effectively an inconsistency in the Mario timeline. So, basically, sometimes there's a little bit of consistency, and it's like, oh, okay. And then sometimes there isn't, because he decided to get in the way. I decided to visually show this with red and teal. Now, I know that's probably hard to see, but I was trying to go with the most visible colors I could. Anywhere you see a red connector, that's a strong continuity link. Anytime you see a teal connector, that's a weak continuity link. So, for example, and I've always thought of the Mario series as having 3 timelines, or actually 4 timelines if we're being honest, but whatever. So there's the original timeline, that goes Yoshi's Island, which connects directly to Super Mario Bros. 3, which connects directly to Super Mario World, which connects vaguely to Super Mario Bros. 2. Then there's the 3D timeline. That starts with both Mario 64 and Luigi's Mansion, which both strongly connect to Mario Sunshine. which also weakly connect to New Super Mario Bros., which then leads to the New Super Mario Bros. Chain, which is basically just each one is an expansion of the previous one. Don't mistake me, I actually like the New Super Mario Bros. Series, but those are expansion packs. Over on the other side... Oh, boss music. Over on the other side, though, Mario Sunshine leads weakly into the Mario Galaxies, which leads weakly into Mario 3D Land, which leads weakly into Mario 3D World, which I didn't actually have room for this, but that timeline is the one that leads into Odyssey, for those curious. No, I'm actually wrong. That's not the timeline that goes into Odyssey. So ignore that, sorry. Then we have the obvious timeline, the one that matters the most on the far right, the Mario RPG timeline, which starts with Super Mario RPG, which weekly starts off both Paper Mario and Mario & Luigi 1. Now you'll notice each of the two Mario RPG timelines strongly connect to each other. So, Paper Mario strongly connects to Paper Mario 2, strongly connects to Super Paper Mario, and Mario & Luigi 1 strongly connects to 2, strongly connects to 3, strongly connects to 4. The only way that the Mario RPG timeline is kind of weird is Super Paper Mario weakly connects to Paper Mario Color Splash, and Mario & Luigi Dream Team weakly connects to Paper Jam, and Color Splash strongly connects to Paper Jam. It is, in fact, the same. It basically goes immediately from Color Splash into Paper Jam, was the intention. So, shrug. Now, we'll be covering, so for the sake of the Mario RPG lore run, we'll actually only be covering 3 of the games on this list for this particular run. That would be Paper Mario 2, and Super Paper Mario. Yeah, I know, it's actually called Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, and Super Paper Mario, but screw it, it's Paper Mario 2. I've been calling it that for years, I'm not going to change it anytime soon, damn it. I'm not going to say Paper Mario TTYD every time I say it. Now, Geludo asks, where does the original Super Mario Bros. Fit? Oh, it's right there. It's called Super Mario Bros. 3. Well, it's not a big thing, and actually some of the developers actually disagree on this. Most developers, including Miyamoto himself, have pretty much flat out said Super Mario Bros. 3 is a retelling of Super Mario Bros. 1. Ergo, when it comes to considering canonicity, it is effectively a remake of 1, and therefore is the one that's considered the canon entry. The original adventure. I think that's everything. So yeah, we'll be covering the 3 Paper Marios here. We are not covering Sticker Star because it's garbage. We'll not be covering Color Splash because we've already done that. And it's a decent enough game, but it also has nothing to do with the other 3, as I already mentioned. Sometime in the future, maybe... Big maybe. My schedule's already super smashed right now. We might do the Mario & Luigi quadrology. Because each of those, as I mentioned earlier, lead rather directly into each other. Donkey Kong? He's off doing his own thing, really. Well, see, that's an interesting question, Materia Keeper. The long and the short of that is originally, and it is a valid question, originally the Paper Marios and the Mario & Luigis were supposed to be the same timeline. Now, can you guess why they're not? Give you a hint, it starts with an M and ends with a I hate continuity. So what happened, I've actually talked about this before, but basically what happened is Paper Mario came out, and then Mario & Luigi came out. You notice I actually have them staggered like that. It's Paper Mario and then Mario & Luigi. And then Paper Mario 2 came out right around the same time that the other two, the second and third Mario & Luigi games were coming out. And the two teams were actually coordinating with each other at that point in time. So there was intention to basically make Paper Mario 2 directly contiguous with Partners in Time and later Bowser's Inside Story. So there's actually quite a few references in both games, other than Chocola Cola, between each other. However, Miyamoto basically stomped his foot down and said, no, Paper Mario is all about Mario having fun adventures. There shouldn't really be a strong story focus. Look at Paper Mario 1. That didn't have a strong story focus. To which the development staff said, but yeah, it did. What are you talking about? Are you on crack, Miyamoto? Are you on crack? And then they smacked him and smacked him and smacked... Sorry, that's just my fantasy. No, what actually happened is the Paper Mario team crumbled completely. I'll talk more about that when we get to Super Paper Mario. But the Mario & Luigi team basically told them to sod off and just kind of started doing their own thing. So the connecting points that were supposed to tie the two franchises together fell apart and were never referenced again. It's probably worth noting, and I don't know if the visual thing really shows this off well, but Mario & Luigi Dream Team was in development at the same time as Paper Mario Sticker Star, which is not even on this list. Sticker Star, as I've said many times before, is the game where Miyamoto flat out said, get rid of the story, get rid of the continuity. And they crumbled and said, okay. Mario & Luigi Dream Team was the game that Miyamoto said, get rid of the story, get rid of the continuity, and they said, piss off. And they actually had the balls to tell Miyamoto no. Which, if you don't understand, that's pretty rare for anyone developing a Nintendo game. So, we got Mario & Luigi Dream Team, which is a great game, and Sticker Star, which is garbage. In fairness, Sticker Star has problems that aren't related to the story thing. Like, it really does. It is a weak Mario platformer with an awful gimmick. But one last point. I want to bash Sticker Star one last time, okay? How many of you, what do you think of when you think of the character of Bowser? Odd question, I know, but hear me out. Do I have a Bowser song? I don't have a Bowser song. Surely I have some kind of Bowser song somewhere. Oh, I do. The Mario Land games are actually part of the Wario timeline, believe it or not. Blue is weak, red is strong. Hello, Sonic Doctor. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and summarize here. Bowser, when he's actually a character, a.k.a. over in these games over here, is a big, adorkable goofball. He puts on a brave front, and he actually has a really great working relationship with Mario and Peach, and he's like the opposite of evil, basically. I know that sounds like a strange thing to say, but he is just an adorkable, lovable, grandiose idiot. And yeah, that's Bowser in a nutshell. I'll actually talk about that a little bit more in depth in a minute, but the relevant point for right now is in Sticker Star, Bowser appears twice and has exactly 0 lines of dialogue. Nothing. He says nothing. He has no dialogue. If I ever need to explain why Sticker Star is crap, that's what I jump to. Anyways. Now give me one moment. I need to look up a timeline. There it is, 93. So right around late 93, a series of comics came out. Hey, Leslins. I should have had this prepped, but again, I woke up like at 10:02, so I apologize. Professional at work. Okay. So let's go ahead and get rid of the timeline for a second. So does anybody recognize this before I move any further? I know, it's a bad copy of it, but I actually have a physical copy of this. Yes, these are the ones that came out in Nintendo Power, issue by issue. In fact, I think you could buy a copy of it nowadays. Yep, I'm right, it's on Amazon for $10. Holy crap. I actually lost my copy of this during one of my moves, and I spent years trying to find it again. I was so happy when I found it again. Anyways, I'm sorry. This came out in 1993. Now, that's relevant. Super Mario RPG came out in 96, to give a little bit of the timeline perspective here. Now, if you're wondering why this is related, allow me to elucidate. The Super Mario Adventures comic is when the Mario characters became characters. I'm not actually kidding or exaggerating about that. This was the first thing that introduced to the Mario franchise the idea that the things running around in it could actually have personality and character. If you've ever wondered why Peach is a badass who tends to just competence her way through things and not take any guff, if you ever wondered why Toad is just kind of this jovial little guy who is constantly put upon, if you ever wonder why Luigi is a coward who is struggling to do the best he can in a situation he can barely withstand, if you ever wonder why Bowser is a big, adorkable idiot, you know, all of the characterization points that were fleshed out in later games all started with this comic. And I felt like pointing that out. God, my neck hurts. I feel like pointing that out because this is actually the biggest reason why the Mario RPGs really got their going. Because when Square's... Okay, I should rewind a second. I didn't actually talk about this. When Nintendo was making Super Mario RPG with Squaresoft, they were doing it, and, you know, Mario and, spoilers, Peach and Bowser, who are all party members in Super Mario 64, were just kind of there. You know, blank slates, no real character, no personality to it. And Squaresoft was like, why do your party members have no personality? And Nintendo was like, well, why would they? It's Mario. And several people at Squaresoft had read these comics and pointed to them and was like, look, there! I can literally point to them having character. And they're like, I mean, I guess. And there was actually a little bit of an argument under the hood. This is one of the reasons why Mario is kind of a blank character in all of these games. Because I don't know if it was Miyamoto himself, but the Nintendo development staff put their foot down and said Mario has to be, you know, blank. He has to be just the Mario and nothing else. But the reason so many of the other characters developed the personality traits that would carry them forward through basically every game since was because of Square looking at the comics and saying, look! So they basically just copied it. This of course then led to things like Luigi's Mansion and the Mario Sunshine series, and basically everything henceforth, character-wise, came from Squaresoft insisting on using this comic. Something about that really amuses me. Anywho, history, am I right? Okay, I think that's all of the... Whoops! I think that's all of the things I need to discuss here. Let's get that off the screen. Where's the game? Where's the game? I don't know the lyrics, Shadow Machine. I know why you're asking me that, though. Why is this not showing up? Hang on. There we go. It's from Chai Guy! I knew it! You were the reason it wasn't playing. Odyssey, I think I mentioned this earlier, Odyssey is basically down towards the bottom, and arguably sits in the RPG timeline. Because if you were paying attention during the Odyssey premiere run, a lot of Odyssey actually has little tidbits of background lore and setting lore, most of which are things that were established in the RPG series. And thank you very much, Chai Guy. Much obliged and much appreciated as always. Thank you. I can't sing, Shadow Machine. I'll think about it. The only lyric I know off the top of my head is that he's sick of trying and tired of living, but scared of dying. It's the only line I actually remember off the top of my head. Okay. So I think that's all the establishment, the setup. So let's go ahead and hit reset here. Now I do actually have cheats for this game. If you... God damn it, Shadow Machine, why would you do this to me? Okay. I will mangle singing it during this cooking section. I hope we don't hit that today, because I'm not even remotely prepped for that. I don't even remember the tune off the top of my head. Do you know how long it's been since I watched that? It's actually not been that long. You know what's doubly funny about that, though, is I'm pretty sure I have that saved locally, because it's one of my favorite runs. Let's see, SGDQ 2013, Paper Mario. Yep, right there. I ate your pie. That's the one. Yeah, where's the peach cake section? Ah, here it is.
A little buzz, then your lands in jail.
Yeah. I'll think about it, Shadow Machine. Like I said, I don't know the tune. I barely know the lyrics. I do appreciate the reference. And thank you so, so much, Shadow Machine, for the donation. Much appreciated, as always. Thank you so much. I suppose I should mention one other thing before we actually start the game here. So yeah, sorry, I got one last thing to talk about. I apologize. I know you hate it when I talk. So the N64 was a weird disappointment to me. Now, as a kid, well, as a teenager, I didn't actually know why. I didn't understand the Project 64 thing I just told you about. I didn't understand the third parties leaving thing I just told you about. I didn't understand that the PlayStation was moving into the market. You know, I didn't actually know. I didn't actually. I knew it, Sonic Doctor. I didn't actually know most of the reasons. All I knew was the N64 was kind of disappointing. Oh, don't mistake me. It had a few very strong games. It had Mario 64, it had Ocarina, it had Majora's, it had Star Fox 64. Now, there were others, but those were the big... Oh, and Mario Kart 64. There were others, but those were the big ones for me. And I replayed those games often. I used to replay Star Fox 64 and Ocarina on a extremely regular basis. But I usually... It was the first time in my life I had two systems hooked up simultaneously. Had to buy a splitter and everything. And I had left that hooked up in that manner because half the time I'd be like, well, I'd rather play a SNES game because, I mean, I've only got like 5 N64 games. Now, this was still in the era of rentals, although, as Saldeer will tell you, you know, there was a bit of a limitation when it came to rentals. You could only rent Saldeer for like 5 minutes at a time. He's very expensive. Avurl means drink, Fuzzy Duck. So this was in the tail end of the rental era, when rentals were kind of dying out as a concept. But I happened to work at a rental store. And then, you know, I was like, all right, there's this new N64 game called Paper Mario. I remember looking at that and being like... Now, I obviously didn't play it when it came out. In fact, I so didn't play it when it came out. I played Quest 64 before I played Paper Mario. Yes, I did, Shadow Machine. The hydration bot basically didn't work. It could only go down to an hour at a time. Yeah, by the way, for those of you not aware, and this is not bragging, I actually beat Quest 64. Because I had the incredibly wrong mindset that obviously there's something wrong with me. Obviously this game is better than it looks. It has to be. It has to be better than it looks. Maybe it gets better if I get to the next town. Or the next one. Thankfully, I did discover the ridiculous combo, you know, relatively early on. Which is good, because otherwise that game is just a chore to play. It's still a chore to play through, but it's even worse if you don't use the I'm invincible trick. How many games can you name where you are literally invincible and it's still a chore to play? Because I can name one. So after Quest 64, I was kind of burnt out and just not. God, there's got to be something. Paper Mario, sure, whatever. It's got Mario in the title. It's by some company I'd never heard of because I never even heard of the term Fire Emblem back at this point in time. Whatever. Rented it, immediately fell in love with it. Just fell in love with it. It was everything I liked about Super Mario RPG, but polished. I've never even heard of that style here. What is that? like I don't know how to properly explain this. I've praised Paper Mario many times, even though I do think Paper Mario 2 is a better game. But Paper Mario was a breath of fresh air. It really is Super Mario RPG, but with more time and effort put into it. Like, if you think of Super Mario RPG as Mega Man 1, Paper Mario is Mega Man 2, to use a direct parallel. And I'll be talking about several of the specifics of how and why as I go through it. At the time, I didn't really understand all that. At the time, it was just like, oh, this is amazing. Now, I already had a job at this point in history, and I was already working, so I just saved up a little money and bought the sucker and got right back into it and played the hell out of it. On the N64, this was actually the most played game for me. More than Ocarina, more than Star Fox, more than anything else, the N64 game I replayed the most is this one. I used to just replay it on a regular basis because I loved replaying this game. Now, how many times do you want to bet I'm going to get lost as we go through this? Because it's me. So you're putting in... So let me make this clear, Saldir. Hang on, let me pause the stream. Saldir wants to put money towards a game I've never heard of, which is on the PS2. So let me already start by saying... Because anything on the PS2 is really hard to stream at this point in my life. It's right in the bad era there. It looks like it's apparently on PC. A shooter by the numbers for B minus. Yeah, it's got about average ratings. Well, it looks like I can get it on PC. Let me see if it's on Steam. Hang on, guys. I gotta pull up Steam. I don't have Steam up, obviously. Warhammer Fire Warrior. Oh, okay. Sorry, gotcha, Saldir. That... I need context, man. Okay, so... Got it. It's a game that sucks to play even with invincibility on. I believe you. I was about to say, I mean, if I could get it on PC, sure, whatever. I mean, you guys are putting for other weirder games for me to play. Anyways. So, without further ado, let's actually watch the intro. Make sure this is right. There we go. Nope. Is that right? Jade Empire, you got it. Today I'm going to tell the story of star spirits and good wishes. Far, far away beyond the sky. Way above the clouds. That's the wrong setting. There we go. It's been said that there's a haven where stars live. In the sanctuary of Starhaven, there rests a fabled treasure called the Star Rod, which has the power to grant all wishes. Using the wondrous Star Rod, the 7 revered star spirits watched over our peaceful world. Carefully. Very carefully. And then... oh dear. What the... Who stuck that weird thing into this story? Yeah, I did. So I can, at long last, beat my archenemy Mario. I'll take this Star Rod. Do it, Cammy! No, you mustn't do that. Yeah! Now let's try using it. Stop it! Cut it out, Bowser! You're changing the story! We did it! That was a piece of cake! Now Star Kids may rise to the Haven to deliver people's wishes, but those wishes will not come true. Whatever can they do? This is a good time to mention that the paper aesthetic of this game was invented relatively later on. and as a direct conceit to Yoshi's Island. Some of you may or may not remember. Ignore that, I don't love Kefka. Some of you may or may not remember Yoshi's Island had a crayon aesthetic. That was something that they basically just kind of did for funsies. And it actually ended up working really well. It's a similar concept. Funnily enough, Yoshi's Island and Paper Mario both have the distinction of, starting in the same manner and causing a trend which turned out to be a bad thing. So, if you don't know what I mean by that, you'll notice I didn't mention virtually any of the Yoshi games on that timeline earlier. That's because of the fact that the Yoshi games kind of, immediately after Yoshi's Island 1 and 2, the Yoshi games spun off wildly into their own completely segregated continuity that has nothing to do with the Mario franchise, where they were more insistent on trying to make the graphics look different than designing the gameplay. Now, that being said, some of the Yoshi games are still actually good. But you get what I mean, right? Like, they went from crayon to, like, the clay thing in the N64 one to, like, the yarn look. And they've basically stayed with the yarn look. And Paper Mario, for some reason they decided that the thing that really made Paper Mario was the paper part, and not the RPG part, which led directly to things like Sticker Star. So, yeah. Anyways. Ah. Morph. Notice Parakarry. Early cameo. Miracle! Miracle! I'm Luigi, #1. Well, I kept streaming Hazardous, so that probably answers your question. We did push through FF15, and that was a decent stream. Hey, Mario! We got the letter from Princess Peach. I'll read it to you, okay? Alright, let's see. I'm throwing a party at my castle today. Mario and Luigi. I would be honored if you could both attend. Many guests from distant towns are hoping to meet you. There'll be tasty sweets and all kinds of entertainment. Hope to see you soon. Sincerely, Peach. I already talked about that extensively, Baron. Like, extensively. You missed it. I'm sorry. Well, I understand, Hazardous. I'm just... You think you had to recover. Feel me on that one, I'm just kidding. It's not a contest. Notice the quick establishment of world building here. I know that sounds like a weird thing, but this is the first time, and ever, really, that actual world building was attempted within the Mario series. So they're trying to establish the setting of Mario within Paper Mario, and they'll continue doing that in Thousand Year Door as well. Ah, what a magnificent castle. I'd never get used to this place. Looks like lots of guests are already here. So, and yes, this is very deliberately designed to basically look like the Mario 64, like that first floor. There's the one that leads to the water area, there's the one that leads downstairs, that platform up there leads to the Babam place. And I'm not going to read everything, but let's just say that virtually all of these NPCs are actually in the rest of the game. I know it's kind of hard to tell in some cases, since they don't always use their names. Well, that's an interesting question, Baron. At this point, as in real life, yeah. But remember, this was the third time they'd ever even designed Peach's Castle. It was first in Mario 64, then it was Mario Kart 64, and then in this game. Also, this is the second time there was such a thing as a town, a Toad Town. The only time before this there was an actual town was in Super Mario RPG. Oh yeah, so this is... Oh, hang on, gotta stop the stream, stop the stream. Stream must be stopped! Seriously, I do have to... Alt-tab and pull this up and do this. Actually, those are the exact same button, Dream Whisperer. It was requested, I don't remember by whom, that I go ahead and repeat it on the website. But it is the exact same button. It goes to the exact same thing. We do, Dakota, you're right. We just... Screech! Where was I? Okay, right. I was actually going to look up the name of this guy. Rusty, that's his name. Rusty. Oh yeah, this is the beginning of the Toad puns. So all of the Toads have Toad as their last name. Now, I like to think that that's a clan naming kind of a thing, and there's some evidence that that follows through on that in the Mario RPG series. But the point is, that means most of the Toads are Name Toad, which they usually shorten to Name T. And that's just puns. Rusty, Frosty. This is Frosty right here. This is Rusty. I don't remember all of them. There are many. There are so many Toad puns. I'm not even going to possibly be able to list them all. But I only mentioned these two because Rusty is actually one of our biggest sources of background lore in this game. And I'll show that off later. And that's the guy who's going to point us towards Zesty later. We see our first penguin here. Later on, they gain a Canadian accent. I know, right, Fuzzy Duck? I don't want to talk too much about Sticker Star, because it really is garbage. But... Greetings, Mario. I'm the Minister of Peach's Castle. Which is also the first time this character has existed. He would eventually become Toadsworth, which would then be baked into things like Mario Sunshine, the Mario and Luigi series, etc. Mr. T? No, but I believe there is a Mr... or Miss... Oh god, I'm saying it wrong. There is a Mystery one, I just can't remember his name. This is the mayor of Shiver City. He'll actually be a major NPC later. And there he mentions Frosty. This is also... So, okay. Yes, this is the only game we're playing, Baron. We're definitely not playing any other games ever, 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 ever. I really did cover this at the beginning, Baron. We'll be playing Paper Mario 2, and Super Paper Mario for this run. Now, this is a weird point. But this helps establish something that is a very common trend of the Mario RPGs. The Koopas are not evil. Now, I know that sounds like just kind of a... I mean, yeah, because it's such a normal concept now. But that was introduced in this game. The idea that, in fact, that we'll actually be later interacting with Goombas, who are cool, too. It's such an obvious concept in hindsight. It's the idea that, you know, there are some Goombas that work for Bowser, and then there are some that don't. So the idea of NPCs of enemy races was a brand new concept, and again, part of the world building. So again, the game very quickly and efficiently establishes this point right here by simply giving us a random Koopa to talk with. Speaking of which, these little mouse guys, which technically originated in Super Mario Bros. 2. The guy from Dry Dry Desert. Also, basically every NPC here we see here is someone who is repeated in a later chapter, giving us little hints of the chapters that are going to come. They even talk about some of the places we'll be going, like Shooting Star Summit. And earlier they mentioned the Dry Dry Desert. Someone mentioned the jungle. Oh yeah, and of course Shiver City, which we've had 2 references to now. No, there's only one Super Mario Bros. 2. Oh yeah, sorry, I should mention something. So this is another new thing they invented. Mutations for text. I don't know what the proper term is, but I'm going to let the text play normally here so you can see what I'm talking about. Did you see that? it basically renders and changes the text in a variable manner as a storytelling tool. Now, I actually talked about this last night. In Super Mario RPG, all they had was caps. It was all text. So the only way they could add any emphasis was by using capitalization. So you'd say, get dialogue like, where should we go now? You know, like that. Here, and they'll continue this going forward, they actually vary how the text is rendered. So they'll come up with like a thing that'll make it wavy if they're sick and woozy, or it'll be shaking if they're really angry, or it'll render super quick if they're shouting, or it'll render kind of in a tempo to emphasize something. Basically, they added an entire new engine into the code to decide how to render the text in order to be able to then vary it up. Now, you might think, that's a cool idea. That's brand new to RPGs. No, it isn't. They got this idea from Earthbound, actually. Earthbound, for those of you not aware, has an entire engine dedicated just to rendering the text. It's one of the reasons why Mother 3 was so difficult to translate into English when the fan translation project was happening, because it used the same engine, and it's a very complex engine. But it allows you to do stuff like that, to use the way the text is rendered as a storytelling tool. And you know what? I'm just going to go and just toss out some positives. Is that okay, guys? You okay with me gushing about this game that I absolutely adore? Well, if you're not okay with that, you're in the wrong stream. I'm just going to toss out 2 story positives right off the bat. Oh, that sucks, Saldir. I'm sorry. Well, I hope your shift goes smoothly, Saldir. Yeah, Earthbound was way ahead of its time. Whenever we do an in-depth classic of Earthbound, that game did a lot of things for the first time. It's kind of strange. Probably the only way Earthbound was really behind the times was its straight combat, and even that had some unique ideas to it. Notice the music getting quieter as we go through here, by the way. No, that'd be Paper Mario 2, Final Cloud. See, the music's even quieter now. No, yeah, Paper Mario 2, I'm sorry, is one of my favorite games of all time, and I've never changed my mind on that. When I replayed it for the theater, I was just loving going through it, even though I was recording footage for the show. You know? Anyways. Oh, Mario, you came to the party to see me. You're so sweet. Thank you. Oh, yeah. It's probably worth noting. The relationship between Mario and Peach has always been kind of weirdly presented. Because originally the idea was they were a couple. Like, that was just the idea. That goes back to Mario 1. Like, that's present in Mario 1, that's present in Mario 3, that's present in Mario World, that's present in Mario 64. It was just what was considered norm. Now, the RPGs took that and decided to say that instead of just being a couple, instead the two were people were very close, but not actually romantically connected. Now, I don't know why they decided to do that. However, for whatever reason, that became the norm. In more modern games, that's basically continued ever since. Mario and Peach are no longer a couple. They're just two people who happen to be very close. This is this is probably the most obvious way to get across this change in tone is Mario Odyssey, the most recent Mario, where, frankly, Mario has more chemistry directly with Rosalina, and at the end, when Mario tries to be like, oh, Peach, be with me, Peach just straight up rejects him. And the whole thing is treated as a comedy, right? Now, again, I don't know why they did that. I also don't care that much, but I thought I'd mention it because that trend really started here with Paper Mario. I was just resting a bit. It's getting tiring greeting all those guests out there. Nobody will bother us here. Shall we relax and chat? Just the two of us? It was a lovely day today, so I'm sure it's comfortable out on the balcony right now. Will you accompany Mario? Wait, did I say Rosalina? Did I use the wrong name? I meant Paulina. Sorry, not Rosalina. Sorry. Rosalina's not connected to anyone. My bad. Yeah, Pauline, thank you. God, screwing up everything today. I didn't get much sleep. What do you want from me? By the way, that cutscene probably looked really pathetic, but I want to stress, they were really pushing the N64 to its limits with this game. Now, that's not saying much. The N64 was kind of a crap system, but they really stretched what it could do in this game. Like, pushing it to its absolute limits. This isn't necessarily the most technically impressive N64 game, but it's at least in the top 5. What in the world was that? Oh my, look, Mario, it's daytime, isn't it? But I can see stars outside. Long time no see, Princess Peach. Bowser! Oh, but this can't be. It was you who made the ground shake just now, wasn't it? Whatever did you do? Yeah, that was me. I've lifted your castle up into the sky. It's sitting on my castle now. Weren't expecting that, huh? This castle's under my control now, dear. Now you will obey me. Huh? What? It's Mario! What a shock! Not really. I expected you to turn up right on cue. You're just as annoying as ever. Unfortunately for you, there's nothing you can do this time. Haven't you learned your lesson by now, Bowser? You can never defeat Mario. Why don't you give up already? True. I have had my problems in the past, but this time it's different. This time I'm gonna win. Okay, tough guy, let's go. You can do it, Mario. Yeah. So this is technically a tutorial, but not really. It's more accurate to say that this is a interactive cutscene. So, you'll notice we're in kind of like a side area rather than fighting in the spot where we are. This was a conceit to the Squaresoft origins of this concept. You know, you wander around the overworld, and then you're fighting in another area. Similar concept. I only point that out because Paper Mario 2 would take this idea and run with it in the future. Good old Mario, always fighting. You're a thorn in my side. But today your pathetic little attacks won't beat me. Take a look at this. Look what I stole from Starhaven. It's the Star Rod. This fine piece of work has the power to grant any wish in the whole wide world. And when I use the Star Rod to increase my strength, even you can't beat me, Mario. N64 speaker. How do you like that, Mario? I got this. Is that all you've got? How sad. You best take some vitamins, because that didn't hurt at all. Funny fact, if you glitch this out and beat him here, the game crashes. Oh, yep, just as I expected. Mario's no match for the new me. It's not even worth my time to toy with you anymore, Mario. Time to end this. Here we go. Good night. Oh, yeah! I did it! I finally did it! I beat my old rival Mario! Yes! Congratulations on your victory, your viciousness. That's why you're the king. As long as I have this star rod, everything I wish will come true. No one can stop me now. I guess I might as well get rid of Mario. He's no good to anyone now, that's for sure. This is a good time to mention a long-standing theory. And I do mean it's one of the older theories about the Mario series. Basically, it's the theory that Bowser, Peach, and Mario are all friends. Now I know what you're thinking. Huh? But if you actually sit and think about it, it does make a lot of things make more sense if Bowser is never actually evil and never actually trying to kill or hurt anyone. And that does play out in a lot of the Mario games, most notably the Mario RPGs. The closest Bowser gets to really being a villain is actually in this game. In the Mario RPGs. Now, in some of the other Mario games, someone who shall go unnamed mentions, tries to portray Bowser as a super evil guy. But yeah, no. Bowser's just that kid who doesn't get along with everyone in the same way, but he secretly thinks you're friends, just because he pulls your underwear up every now and again. Oh yeah, speaking of mutations to the text. Oh, thank heavens, he's been gravely injured, but I think he'll recover. But Bowser has the Star Rod. He's mightier than Mario. No, Cartman's actually evil. I would say it's more like he's kind of like Butters, except if Butters had an entire empire under his feet. Yeah, no, Dream Whisperer is my answer to that. It's hopeless. All is lost. Everybody just calm down. As long as we keep it together, there's always hope. Now, our fates are in Mario's hands. We must try to revive him. Gather round, everyone. Actually, yeah, Professor Chaos is a pretty good example of Bowser. Like, he is not evil. You could argue that back and forth, but so this is relevant, and this will become relevant in the future. Because in almost every Mario RPG game, Bowser is present, and usually not the main villain. In fact, the main villain, I don't want to spoil too much, but the main villain of the next game we'll be playing is very evil. Like, in direct comparison to Bowser. The villain of the next game literally tortures and kills people. In the game after that, the main villain is someone who is a psychotic clown, who is basically doing his best Joker impression. Yeah. Bowser's not even on the same tier as the actual villains of the Mario RPGs. Speaking of which, so I mentioned earlier the Koopa thing. Well, here's our first introduction to Goombas. Who could that be? This red shirt, hat, mustache. You know, this looks like the one and only Mario. Couldn't be, could it? The real Mario? Oh yeah, we're always a celebrity. At least in our home turf. Come on, wake up. Up and at him. Oh no, he won't wake up. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. What am I gonna do? Dad, Goomba, Goombario. So again, more automatic world building there. That's actually a good question, Materia Keeper. I'd rather save that discussion for there, but honestly, they're both pretty horrible. I also have a bit of a headcanon thing going with Sir Grotus, because we don't get a lot of characterization for him. Technically, we get more characterization for the bigger evil, the final monster, because we see a lot of the results of her actions, whereas Sir Grotus, he mostly just sits around and cackles evilly. But like I said, I have a bit of a headcanon about him, which portrays him as, let's call it a supreme egoist. You know what I mean? Someone who is so full of himself that he is on the selfish side of the evil spectrum, whereas the monster is more on the cruelty, malicious side of the spectrum. So which is worse? Take your pick. Hey, Anselmo. Mario, can you hear me, Mario? I am Eldstar, a star spirit. I have something very important to tell you. It concerns the princess and all the Mushroom Kingdom. But sadly, I haven't the strength to talk to you here. I need you to have come to the Shooting Star Summit. Please, Mario, we star spirits will be waiting for you at the summit. Hang on a second. I'm so happy to see you awake. You haven't opened your eyes for days and days. Everyone's been worried sick. This is Goomba Village. It's a tiny village just west of Toad Town. The only residents are me and a single family of Goombas. The Goombas in the family are just the nicest folk you'll ever meet. They're the ones who found you unconscious in the forest and carried you here to get better. A star with a mustache? You're saying a star told you to go to the Shooting Star Summit. No, I saw nothing like that. I sure didn't see anyone come in or out of this house. I wonder, Mario. Maybe you just had a dream? Although maybe not. Could have been some sort of message from a star spirit. They do live in Starhaven. Shooting Star Summit is the closest place to Starhaven, so that would make sense. Who knows? In any case, I'm glad to see you recovered. I know the Goombas would be happy if you paid them a visit. Oh, okay.
Your dedication will be rewarded.
Oh yeah, so another thing that this game does, interestingly, is its transitions. Now, this is how... I mentioned how they push the N64 to its limits. One of the ways they get around the slowdown problems is they only have certain terrain loaded at a given point in time. And, of course, they have to have some kind of transition to cover that, so they literally went with that idea, and you'll see a few other examples of this as we go through, to try and hide what is effectively a load screen for rendering or de-rendering parts of the terrain. Hey Mario, I'm Goombario. And I'm your biggest fan. You don't know what this means to meet you. Seriously. Ah, thank you, Fuzzy Duck. Thank you very, very much. As always. Much obliged, sir. Thank you. If you happen to know where you want to put that, just let me know. Oh, land's sakes, Mario. So nice to meet you. My. I'm so glad you woke up. Can't tell you how worried I was when you were just lying there asleep for so long. Mario, you look better. I'm so glad. I was really worried about you because you were lying there in the forest. You didn't open your eyes the whole time. And you see what I mean by load screens? They literally de-render the wall. It's actually still here. And you can kind of see it pop right back in right there. Whoops, we're on the wrong thing. God. Oh, Mario, hello, dearie. You may call me Goomba. I'm a Goomba grandmother, so that's where I got the name. Have you already met my lovely grandchildren? They sweet. Especially little Goombaria. Why, she looks just like what I did when I was young. Oh, you startled me. Yes, Mario, isn't it? So you've awakened at last. Good, I knew you'd pull through. Call me Goompa. I'm the Goomba grandfather, so I'm Goompa. I'm sorry, but would you mind giving me the details later? I'm pretty busy fixing the veranda. Oh yeah, sure, no problem. I tell you what. Let's compromise, Fuzzy Duck. How about an Earthbound IDC? Does that sound acceptable? I wanted to go with you, too, but, you know, Daddy told me it was too dangerous, so I have to stay here instead. Oomph. Oh, yeah, save. So, as with most RPGs of this era, there's just save blocks. Now, there are multiple saves, but in order to switch between saves, you actually have to back out and back in. So basically, you're locked into your save slot when you play, which actually does kind of suck. Damn it. So noted, Fuzzy Duck, and thank you again. I mean, it makes sense if you think about it, Crimson King, especially since we're effectively starting a new continuity here. Howdy, Mario. Feeling better? Feel free to rest in our house. It's not such a shabby place. It may look a little unkempt at the moment, but I'm fixing all the earthquake damage. In fact, I just spent ages fixing this gate. You what? You have to leave right now? Oh, Shooting Star Summit. Something important, no doubt. Well, I believe the summit's near Toad Town? If you take this road straight ahead, you'll eventually reach Toad Town. That's the home of Princess Peach's castle. I do believe that Shooting Star Summit is just beyond there. It's too bad you can't stay. Feel like I just met you, but duty calls, I know. Come back and visit if you can. Best of luck, Mario. So I didn't mention her even though she showed up already. But this is Kammy Koopa. Now, at this point in history, Kamek already existed. He had already been invented. In fact, Kamek was in Super Mario RPG, although he wasn't named in the English version, but it was him. But Kammy was introduced as basically their own take on Kamek, so that they could take her in a different direction. Because what they wanted was a very specific type of character. They wanted someone absolutely loyal, incredibly competent, and amazingly bungling. And they wanted all of that wrapped into one bundle, so they could use it as basically a foil to Bowser. So Kammy was invented. Now, unfortunately, Kammy is she didn't last very long as a character. In fact, I think she's only in the 3 games. Let me look that up really quick. She's not in many of them, that's for certain. Well, Kammy is the one who's basically let's call her the Chancellor to Bowser. Okay, apparently she's a sticker in Smash Bros. Brawl, and a spirit in Smash Bros. Ultimate. So that is it. So yeah, she is just in Paper Mario 1 and Paper Mario 2. I was right. Not counting the sticker. Poor Kammy. That being said, I do actually prefer Kammy to Kamek. Probably because Kammy gets a fairly large amount of characterization and a lot of screen time in the 2 games that she is in. My instincts were right. Mario, I can't believe you're on your feet after taking a beating from King Bowser. You're such a hardy one, all right. I was smart to come check on you. What? What's that, Daddy? What's that weird flying thing? Weird? You rude the... I am a beautiful Koopa with a beautiful name. Cammy Koopa. Humph. Wish I had time to teach you lesson, brat, but no. Mario, hear this. It's useless for you to try to save Princess Peach. Ridiculous, laughable. As you have seen, King Bowser's more powerful than even you can deal with this time. Here's a gift from him. Mario, you will kneel and weep when you see the wonderful changes King Bowser's made. Your world is ours now. And there's a good example of the text mutation I mentioned earlier. I just fixed that gate. Nobody say gate to me. Cammy Koopa, that fiend. Did you hear what she said about the princess? Didn't sound good. I hope nothing's happened to her. What? Bowser went and kidnapped Princess Peach? Again? Unbelievable. And now you have to go to Shooting Star Summit to help her, right? This could be a problem. Dad, we've just got to do something, right? Mario's got to save the princess. Nobody else can do it. Oh, here's an idea. Maybe we can break this block with Goompa's big hammer. I think he's using it now to fix the veranda. Go ask him for it, will you? Yeah, sure. Are you looking for Goomba? He was just on the veranda. Oh, thank you. It's okay, we're made of paper. Poor veranda. Oh, my back. Huh? Who's that? You, Mario? I remember a great crashing noise and the veranda collapsed and I fell. Did you fall too? I just stepped out the door into thin air, did you? Well, we're both okay. Problem is we can't get back home because that block's in the way. This block shouldn't be here. Well, this is a problem for us. Huh? A hammer? Oh, of course! Where did it go? I was using it to fix the veranda, so it's likely around here somewhere. Nowhere to be seen. I guess it must have fallen somewhere over there. Mario, we better look for it. Now's a good time to mention something. I would love to do a variety of voices for these characters, but none of these games have voice acting, so I have to read basically everything out loud. Which means I'm going to be talking a lot during this run. So I'm just going to try and go ahead and not do that. If that's okay. You know, not vary up the voices too much. I mean, I need to save my throat. Bowser already has killed my throat. I already did that with Paper Mario 2, fun bags. I should totally just play the theater version. No, I'm not going to do that. So anyways, Vigilant, no. I did not. I will double check. Pause the stream. Let's see here. Wait. Oh, let me guess, Vigilant. You donated while I was up and walking out and trying to deal with stuff, didn't you? Yeah, sorry, there was a weird noise, and I was trying to make sure that it was, you know. Anyways, so yes, I did get your donation. Thank you for pointing it out to me. Be vigilant, guys. Or rather, don't be vigilant. You know what I mean. Don't donate when I'm away from the computer. I have no way of knowing. Thank you very much, Vigilant. Much appreciate the donation, as always. I suppose the easiest answer is the one I've already given to you, Vigilant. So Vigilant asks a valid question. Why is Bowser not playing to win? Because Bowser could absolutely just win if he actually wanted to. Like Cody. Cody plays to win all the time. Cody's just a beast. It's actually kind of terrifying to see him in action. I think I've already kind of mentioned this, but it's because Bowser doesn't actually want to win in the strictest sense of the word. He's not interested in just winning. There's really only one game in which he actually accomplishes winning, and it's this game. And even in this game, as we'll talk about, he's kind of not really... He's not really satisfied with his victory. So, I suppose that answers it, Vigilant? He's more interested in having fun and playing the role than anything else. You know, this is what a king should do. This is actually emphasized in the Mario and Luigi series as well, where he's like, I have to be king, but he secretly spends a lot of time and effort and care on his minions, because he really cares about them quite a lot. And he cares about his people, and he takes care of them, and he makes sure they're watched after and protected, and he gets really defensive, and he, you know, blah, 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 blah. But he can't let anyone know that, of course, because that's not what a tough guy does. But yeah, he wants to top Mario on the scoreboard. That's a good way to put that. As I've said before, one of the most common theories is that he is literally friends with Mario, just that he doesn't have a usual friendship with Mario. So this is tutorializing the fact that you can check pieces of the terrain in order to find items, by the way. Yeah, imagine if the Joker was basically not evil at all. And more adorable. There we go, that's the hammer. I'll wager you can use that hammer, you can break the block that's in our way. You can use the hammer to hit trees and stuff and make them sway. Sometimes stuff will fall out. Once again, just this is basically the way we interact with the terrain here. There's more ways to interact with the terrain in future games. This is about as complex as it gets in this one. Now, I do have a question for you guys. The leveling in this game is actually pretty simple. So each time you gain a vertical level, just a level, you gain the ability to raise your badge points, your flower points, or your heart points. So that's cool. But your equipment is incredibly limited. And when I say incredibly limited, I mean you have your boots, you have your hammer, and you're going to get hammer and boots upgrades through plot. So in other words, there's basically nothing you can do in order to increase your equipment other than simply play through the game. Now, whether that's a good or a bad thing is up to you. I think I want to discuss that more once we introduce badges, though. So let's get a quick save in. Even John Doe doesn't quite work, though, because he's still just a little bit too psychotic. There we go. Got the doll. Well, we found the hammer, so we should head home, I guess. So, this is probably pretty anime. Who are you guys? This is my playground, idiots. Nobody sets food in here without my permission. Nobody. Prepare to start crying at the feet of Master Junior Trooper. So, this is Junior Trooper. He's the boss of the neighborhood gang. A bit of a bully, obviously. He's more bark than bite. You can beat him easily. Just boot yourself up and don't take any lip. I'll stay right behind you and watch your progress. So, Junior Trooper, how do I phrase this? He basically causes trouble. He's our recurring bad guy. He's a recurring boss. And the reason he's our recurring boss is because we intruded on his playground. And so he has come after us over and over and over because we intruded on his playground. That's his motivation. So, that's a thing. But yes, this is what Zagi over in Tales of Vesperia should have been. And I mean that sincerely. It's probably worth noting that the Junior Trooper fight changes every time we fight him. And he's used to comedic effect, although whether it's actually funny or not, that's up to you. Oh, I'm sorry, Gum Gum. Hang on. Okay, let me scroll up here. And here's our... So, okay, I should talk about this, too. The way the leveling system works in this game is every level requires 100 experience to level. Now, the way they balance that is every enemy in the game, all of them, have a static experience amount that they'll give you. It's usually around 5 to 20, depending on the enemy. And then they also have a level value attached to that enemy. And it's a straight formula. If you are so many levels below the level, or I guess I should put it this way, if you're so many levels below their level, then you gain that much experience plus some bonus. Until you are at the level they are at which point you get their static amount of experience. And then when you're higher level, you get less and less experience, and it'll reach a point where you actually get 0 experience from enemies at all. Nothing. Now, in my opinion, that's brilliant. Because it only works if the power progression curve is designed to fit the difficulty curve. But it is. In short, if you defeat everything in your way, you will always be the level you need to be. And you will always be getting the right amount of experience from enemies that you should. If you decide to stop and grind, eventually you will simply be incapable of doing so. If, however, you decide to be underleveled, you'll be getting bonus exp to help you catch up quicker. So it fits for all 3 directions, and I love that system. I'm tempted to give it a Gameplay Plus by itself. Because it's a brilliant system and very brilliantly designed. I mean it, I'll be back! Yeah. We'll never see him again. Ever, 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 ever. So, I don't really know the Fire Emblem series that well prior to this point in history. How was the music in the earlier Fire Emblem series? I'm just curious. Since this is by the same composer and all. God, I just realized I have like 3 things to talk about. Hang on. Okay, so first and foremost, there's the leveling system. I think the leveling system deserves at least 1+. I gotta be honest, I'm probably gonna give it at least 2, possibly 3. I know that sounds strange, but trust me when I say this is one of the most brilliantly designed power and difficulty progression curves I've ever seen. Like, a lot of thought and care was put into this. We'll talk more about this. So let's just do... Hey, Plowdy. So that's a plus to gameplay for the way they designed their experience system. We'll save the other stuff for later. Now, one of the other things they mention here is they tutorialize how items work a little bit. So, unlike the Super Mario RPG, most of the items here... So, in Super Mario RPG, the items were more traditional Final Fantasy things. There was potions, ethers, Phoenix Downs, and heal items, right? In this game, items are closer to combat things. I mean, yes, there are potions, and then we will have ethers later. Those will be syrups. But then we have things like fire flowers. In short, items... So they limit your inventory size quite a bit. In fact, you have an inventory cap of 10, which is very limiting. But you are encouraged to use items regularly, and items are basically bonus things. Like, for example, a fire flower doing 3 attack power isn't all that great. However, that is an AoE. This is a good time to mention something else about this game. You notice we have 10 HP, 5 flower points, and 1 attack power. One of the other things I actually like a lot about this game is how it brings the numbers down. By the end of the game, as you saw, we'll have 50 HP, 25 flower points, and an attack power of 3. That's end game. That's right before the last boss, right? So, personally, I think this is brilliant, and I actually wish more RPGs would do something like this. By bringing the numbers down, they allow it makes it much easier to balance, and it makes it very easy to understand your relative ability. But it also means every change in your stats is a substantial one. So, for example, and I'll talk about more about this later, but if we gained 1 additional attack power, all of a sudden we are substantially stronger, as opposed to, you know, the 1 attack power we have right now. That's a good comparison to it. I didn't even think about that. FTL is a brilliant example of the same concept. Every stat matters. 1 shield point can be a huge difference, and it's true here as well. In fact, one of the strategies I first came up with this was to try and beeline for getting 1 defense, which may sound like a minor thing, but it means that if you are getting hit by normal enemies who hit for 1 damage, you are taking no damage at all. Also, this game emphasizes 2 styles of attack, both for you and for the enemies. So for you, I'm saying this wrong. Both for you and the enemies, there's either big hits or repeated hits. Now, I'll talk more about the specifics of these later. But the idea is, for example, Bow has the ability to hit 5 times in a row for 1 damage each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you're fighting anything with defense, then Bow does 0 damage. For something like that, you need someone like Koopster, who hits with 1 big hit to be able to push through their defense. So in other words, the amount of defense that you or your enemy has is a huge variable when it comes to the tactics of any given combat encounter. And there's other things that matter as well, we'll talk about later. But put simply, I'm just going to pencil in a bunch of positives here, so give me a second. So it's just going to type this one in, and then we're also going to have a potential positive for this. Oh, there's a term for it. Does anyone remember what the proper term is for the type of combat these games have? It's not active turn-based, that's just ATB. But it's like blank turn-based combat, and I can't remember what it's called. Interactive turn-based? Well, no, I agree, Alex. I know this is a weird thing to parallel to, but this game is at basically the exact opposite end of the spectrum that FF13 is on. Now, I'm not trying to bash FF13, but FF13 is a game in which you will be regularly hitting for tens of thousands of damage, even relatively early into the game. And you yourself will be hitting for thousands of damage and healing for thousands of damage, and the variable between how much damage you're doing is literally in the thousands. In this game, if you do everything absolutely correctly, you can do about 100 damage in a round if you're lucky and you're skilled. And that's with a very specific badge setup, which also leaves you at 1 HP and has a bit of RNG attached to it. Yeah, that's bonus boss levels of damage you can do. Whoops. So, First Strike is another concept that this game added to Super Mario RPG. If you remember anybody who was there last night, Third actually asked me if First Strike was a concept, and I was like, no. First Strike, in my opinion, is a brilliant concept. I know that, again, it's a very simple thing. First Strike is exactly what it sounds like. You jump on the enemy in the overworld, and you get in a bonus strike before anything else happens. Which is actually huge in a game where enemies will have enough HP that it usually takes you 2 turns to kill them. The timed button thing started in Super Mario RPG, although we don't actually have it yet, Alex. We'll explain why in a bit. Oh yeah, by the way, the enemy can do a first strike on you, too. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aha! That's another new concept that Paper Mario invented. No, Earthbound came up with that idea. Yes, really. I'm telling you, Earthbound was way ahead of its time. None, I suppose, Junior Shar? I mean, I'm not really a shipper in general. Although, for being honest, it would probably be... Oh god, I can't think of her name. She's in Paper Mario 2, the ghost, the shadow lady. I can't think of her name. Vivian. There it is, Vivian. So, okay, that's irritating me. This is a good time to mention that each of the enemies have different terrain? Like, that's the wrong word. Okay, hang on. I know, Alex. Hang on. Let me collect my words. So, you have your hammer. Your hammer can only hit things on the ground, but it can hit through things. You have your jump. Your jump can land on just about anything, unless it's on the ceiling, but it hits from on top. In short, if you hammer someone who has a forward defense, you get hit. If you jump on someone who has a top defense, you get hit. Also, you can't hammer someone who's flying, and so forth and so on. Now, that's the very basic level of it, but as we go throughout this game, more and more enemies will vary up things like flying, spite, being on the ceiling, having extra defense, etc., which will make it so that you can only attack them in a specific way. However, most such enemies also have an additional variable, which I actually just showcased on accident, which I'll show in just a second here. Actually, you can throw your hammer, but we'll talk about that later. So he's flying, so I literally cannot hammer him. It's actually grayed out. But if I jump on him, he loses his wings, and he becomes a regular Goomba. I don't know how to properly explain how awesome this system is, because it's a great example of complexity without convolution, in my opinion. There's nothing convoluted about this system, but there are a lot of permutations of how it can work. And those permutations add a surprising amount of tactics to the combat of just about every game, or every encounter. And you'll notice how that first section, the first combat arena we ever walked through, which was the little path we just walked through, taught us those basics just in-game, just by showing us how to interact with a Goomba with a spiked hat, and a Goomba who's flying. With that, we have the basics. We have the basic concepts of the positional combat. And now they can add layers of complexity on top of that as we go throughout the game. I'm gonna call that positional. I like that word. Modular mob design. That's a great way to put that, Dakota, yeah. The mob design of this game is very modular, and we'll see just a huge amount of applications of that throughout pretty much the entire game. And appropriately enough, Bowser's Castle, the last dungeon, will have quite a few people who basically have, like, everything. Who are good about everything, and you really have to think about it. Yeah, sorry, Ultra Gorth. For some reason, that button changes the filters, and I'm not actually sure how to rebind it, because I'm not even sure where to bind it in the first place. Yeah, could you do me a favor and repeat it, Gum Gum? It's actually scrolled off my screen at this point. Anyway, so sorry, kids, I apologize. Didn't mean to make you fret. You just take it easy now. I'm back, safe and sound. Now, before I forget, I've decided to give you something, Mario. Wait here a minute. Sorry, Gum Gum. Huh? That dolly you lost. That's the one That's Goombario's. She was looking everywhere for it. Would you give it back to her? No! Yes, of course we will. It's my dolly. Dolly, dolly, you're back. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy. Oh, my sweet dolly. 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 And we get a star piece out of it. You always seem to beat up your enemies. Do you work out? I study self-defense by reading books by the masters and listening to Dad and Goomba. And I exercise every day so I can be strong like you. It's starting to show, too. I'm getting big muscles. Yeah, Goombario's head is hard as a rock now. When he does his head bonk, it really hurts. Oh, be quiet. You're embarrassing me. Of course it is true. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Mario. By the way, I like the little idea that a Goomba getting stronger means their head gets harder because, you know, more muscle, right? They're just rapping with Mario. Oh, rapping, huh? Sorry, I wanted to give this to Mario. A badge. This is called a badge. If you wear this, you'll be able to use a badge. But would you like a quick tutorial on badges? Nope. I really don't want the tutorial. Thank you. Now remember, you need FP to use this. Do you remember this block? That lets you heal. By the way, I heard from Goomba, you're taking it upon yourself to try and rescue the princess from Bowser's clutches. Oh yeah, Mario can beat Bowser with one hand tied behind his back. Hush now, Goombario. Mario, please take this hammer. It should serve you well. If I were just a bit younger, I'd accompany you on your trip. I'd have done some damage. The years have started to weigh on me, though. I tell you, this lower back pain. Yeah, I feel you on that one, buddy. Adventure. You're so lucky. Princess rescuing is so cool. I want to be adventurer too someday. Well, you know. Why don't you join the party? Really? May I go? May I go, please? So, hang on. I want to read Gum Gum's thing really quick. Emotional chemicals. Wow, that sounds horrifying. Well, I don't know what you're arguing for exactly, Gum Gum, but it just sounds to me like they're incredibly insane. Do they cry? Well, they can't cry. Are they sad at births? It sounds to me like what you're describing is a culture that doesn't give a damn about life, which is interesting. You know, I've seen a couple alien cultures like that before. So Goombario is the character we're going to be using for the overwhelming majority of this game. Because he's the character who's here for those of you who care about the lore of the Paper Mario game. There's actually a similar character in Paper Mario 2, who is also a Goomba, funnily enough. And that's this button. You just hit this button, and he says, "This is Goomba Village. My family lives here. There's also a Toad House, which, as you probably know, is a good place to take a rest. That big tree near my house is a great place to get Goom Nuts." So he does say some gameplay stuff, but the overwhelming majority of what he says is all lore. And he has a different dialogue for every screen in the entire game. Maybe I'm a weirdo, but I think that's pretty impressive. These are the woods behind my house. Careful, there are many bad Goombas around here. Sorry, I'm sure you could probably take care of yourself, huh? This is my mom, Goomama. She sometimes gets on my nerves when she worries too much about me, but I still love her lots. Don't tell her what I just said. Seriously, promise me. Yes, that's right. He also has a different line of dialogue for every NPC in the game. Now, there are a couple of games that have mimicked this concept, but to my knowledge, there's never been another game that has really done the same thing that both Paper Mario 1 and Paper Mario 2 do. There's a lore tidbit for every screen and every NPC in the game. Oh, and every enemy as well, actually. Now again, sometimes there's a little bit of gameplay there, but for the most part, it's all just story stuff. Just gonna get a quick heal in here. Yeah, I want you to picture how long that would take to write. In fact, that's one of those things you can only do if you planned for it. Like, that can't... You couldn't tack that on. You'd have to have a separate flag somewhere for every screen, every NPC, and every enemy, and that's the thing. What is he for the toad in the house? Well, let's go find out. He's a regular toad. He was sent here from Princess Peach's castle. He's the manager of this toad house. She's my sister, Goombaria. She's a spoiled girl, but still, everyone's always nice to her. Why? He's my grandpa, Goomba. He knows oodles of stuff. Ever since I was a kid, he's been telling me fantastic stories of his youth. She's my grandma, Goomba. Hope she lives forever. She's the greatest. When she starts telling old stories, she always says, when I was young, I was very popular with the boys. This is my dad, Goompapa. He's willing to do anything for us. We can always count on him. He doesn't really look like it, though. But did you see him fixing stuff after that earthquake? That's when I knew he was cool. There we go. Problem solved. I have a feeling your road will be lined with difficulties, so try not to overdo it. Be careful. Stay cool. Oh, hang on. I noticed you aren't wearing that badge. You should wear the badge. So that is basically the end of the tutorial. Now, I've talked many times about the nature of tutorials. For me, this is mostly a neutral tutorial. It's not an extremely well-designed one like, say, Super Mario World. But it's not irritating in the same sense that several other tutorials are that I could mention. Especially since you can actually skip several elements of said tutorial. But the lore thing... I'm pretty inclined to give that a positive, I'll be honest. Let's see, what have we got here? Beware of Goombas. Oh, God! It was a trap! Hey, during battle, you can do this. So, okay. We do actually get a partner in battle. Now, our party size is 2 in this game. And that's it. You can decide who goes first. I'm gonna... So, the end. You'll notice that Goombario there has no HP. Basically, each of the partners in this game has effectively 1 HP. If they're hit by anything, then they're stunned for several rounds and they can't take actions. So, unless you're really sure of yourself, you usually want to have the partner in the back. Although that does mean enemy AoE attacks are far more dangerous, specifically because of that. That being said, as I mentioned, there's lore for every single enemy in the game. This is a Goomba. Goombas are what you'd call small fries. Actually, they're pretty much the smallest fries. Hey, wait, I'm one of them! Max HP, attack power, defense power. These guys are old school. They've been around since you were in Super Mario Bros. And after you tattle, now we can see their HP bar. So there's a gameplay benefit for tattling, and a lore benefit for tattling. Whoops. I could see that, Retro Justice. Oh yeah, they break the fourth wall like crazy in these games, by the way. Just gonna warn you about that. Like, you notice the clouds being held up by string in the background, right? Now, in a similar fashion to how each stat matters as a consequence of how squished the leveling system is, it also means each level matters. As I mentioned already, the level cap is very short. In fact, I decided to look into it. I was actually wrong. I thought the level cap was 24. It is, in fact, 27. The absolute highest level you can get, ever, in this game is level 27. Think about that for a second. How many RPGs can you name with a level cap that small? I can name a couple. You know, like Baldur's Gate 1, Guild Wars 1. I'm sure there's another one. Oh yeah, I should also mention, they do this on purpose. Goombario has a jump attack. Even though it doesn't look the same, functionally he has the same mechanics as Mario's own jump. It sounds like you're describing a nihilist, by the way, Gum Gum. Whoop. Yeah, I know it's flickering, and I'm not sure why. I'm gonna have to see if I can fix that. I didn't mean to do that. Whatever. Anyways, Cloud of the Star, there is a timing mechanic, but we actually haven't unlocked it yet. That's right, Fallout 3 had like a level cap of 20, didn't it? I think? Or maybe it was 30. Actually, I don't remember. Oh yeah, I suppose I should talk about badges. Badges are an awesome form of alternate leveling, in my opinion. So there are a huge number of ways you can get badges. You can find them in the overworld, like we just saw. You can get them as a part of interactions with NPCs. You can get them as a result of finishing quests. Some of them... I don't think any drop-off enemies in this one. I'm pretty sure. You can buy them from a badge vendor. You know, there are plenty of ways to get badges. Badges are how you customize your combat. This is where most of the real complexity of the game is. Now, I only have 2 badges right now. I have a badge that gives me an ability, and I have a badge that makes it so that occasionally I don't get hit. So this adds basically this adds a dodge chance to me, which is huge in a game where every damage matters, and this adds a special attack, which allows me to do more damage using FP. But there are many badges in this game, and I personally think the badge system is freaking amazing. It's not quite at the level of materia, but there are a lot of interesting combinations and fun things you can do with badges. Now, Pharaoh asks, do you think this is where Warframe gets the inspiration for their mods? I don't know if it's actually the specific inspiration for Warframe, but it wouldn't surprise me. Like, you can't tell me like that the Warframe people, who are geeks, have never played Paper Mario or Paper Mario 2. This is a Paragoomba. Obviously, Paragoombas are Goombas with wings. Stats. You can't hit them with the hammer while they're airborne. If you damage them, well, they'll come to the ground and become ordinary Goombas. I should probably mention something. So the partner actually is pretty limited in what they can do in this one. They have their ability list, and each partner has a different ability list. Or they could do nothing to pass if you want to. That's kind of it. One other thing I like about the numbers being so small is you can accurately predict, like, you can plan ahead and predict exactly how you want a round to go. If I take him out, I'll take 2 damage next round, which will then take him out, which will take 1 damage next round, and I'll be left with 3 HP, for example. And, of course, you can use items out of combat, duh. Which we're going to do really quick. Alright, I gotta use this button to do that. Mostly as a save. God dang it, I'm an idiot, whatever. Mushrooms are a dime a dozen anyways. Hey, hey, hold her out there. Yeah, you, suspicious guy, don't move. Ha ha ha, you're Mario. I knew it. Can't go past here, Mr. Big Shot. It's a direct order from the Goomba King. That's right. Sorry, the only way through is the Goomba Brothers, and that's me, Red Goomba, and my brother, Blue Goomba. Let's get him, Blue Goomba. Oh yeah, let's do it, my red brother. Who should we kill first, blue or red? It barely matters. This is Blue Goomba. He's the younger of the 2 notorious Goomba brothers. As you heard in his little speech, he's one of the Goomba King's men. He doesn't look that healthy. He's weaker than his brother. Mario, how'd you like some of this? Oh yeah, 1 damage. Booyaka. Good morning, Bragon. This is Red Goomba. He's the older of the 2 notorious Goomba brothers. Stats. The Goomba King ordered him to try and stop you. You can take this guy no prob. He just has a little more HP than an ordinary Goomba. Well, I got the answer for that, don't I? Red Goomba, my brother. No! You meaty Mario. Walk it off. I'll let you go for now. Run. Let's go heal really quick. Did you know that there are good Goombas and bad Goombas? A bad Goomba will try to pick a fight with us the second it spots us. Really? Interesting. Look, Mario, there's a save block. Might be a good idea to use it, don't you think? Which we will, of course, do. Hey, look, a mushroom. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah, let's go ahead and try for it. This is a good time to mention something. So I'm playing an emulated version, obviously, since hooking up my actual N64 to the capture card is just a nightmare and a half. Like, I could do it. I have the equipment to do it, but it would be awful. But I mention that because for the longest time, this game was not emulatable. Like, even when games like Super Mario 64 or Ocarina or whatever were functional, Paper Mario just didn't work right. And it's because of the fact that, as I mentioned, this game really pushes the N64's limits. So if you notice occasional graphical glitches, that's why. I'm going to try to do a little off-camera work to smooth that off. Because I thought I had it all working. But we may just have to live with some graphical glitches because it's Paper Mario. King Goomba, help us! Mario beat us up. I love the King Goomba's fortress, by the way. It's such a dinky, stupid thing. Hey, look, Mario. See that building over there? Pretty sure there used to be a bridge on the other side. What would happen to it? So, Mario, it's true! You've made it this far. I respect you for that. Unfortunately, this is as far as you'll ever get. Because I, the great and powerful King Goomba, will see to it you advance no farther. Hear that, Mario? No farther, not one step. You scared, little man? Yeah, you're scared, alright. You want to say a sorry? Wow, that King Goomba's really huge. I'm sure he's no match for you, though, Mario. Ready to meet my wrath, Mario? You'd better be. So our first boss fight. This is, again, just a tutorial boss fight. Leave him to me. So, this is one of the only times in this game that you can directly interact with the terrain. It's basically an idea they didn't do much with, that they would later use to greater effect in future games. This is the Goomba King. He's really big. I mean, look at him. He looks really powerful. Stats. He's the boss of Red Goomba and Blue Goomba. Who cares if he's strong? You're much stronger. But I wonder what he ate to become so big. I'd like to be a bit bigger, too. Remember, at this point, we don't even have timed hits. So, honestly, even though I was mentioning earlier the complexity of the combat and whatnot, frankly, a lot of that isn't in yet, and won't be in until we get to the next chapter. We're still in hand-holding land right now. And down he goes. Ding! So, as I mentioned, every time you level, you specifically decide what stat up you get. This is an idea many RPGs... I'm actually going to pause this because I'm going to talk about this a little bit. This is an idea many RPGs have toyed with to varying degrees of success. Diablo 2, for example, had you level up and you'd get skill points, which you could put in some of your stats. In a way, FF10 kind of did something like this, where you could decide exactly where you want to put your, where you want to go on the sphere grid. Yeah, Vagrant Story is a good example of this kind of a concept. For me, I think this particular implementation of it fits better than most, and not because of it itself, so much as because of the way it connects to so many of the other mechanics. So your choices actually are very simple. Do you want to be able to endure more? Do you want to be able to use more special attacks? Or do you want more customization in your playstyle? That's what the choice really is. More HP is obvious, and I know a lot of people who would, go straight into HP for a while and just push their way through things. That's kind of the passive, the white damage strategy, if you will. Flower points is obvious. That gives you more mana. And there's a lot of abilities in this game that actually cost more than 5. So unless you get at least your first upgrade, there's some abilities you just can't use in this game. But yeah, that gets you access to both your and your partner's special abilities. And of course, badge points. Each time you get a badge point upgrade, you gain 3 additional badge points, which allows you to, like I said, specialize and customize your setup. Now, the way I usually play these games is I go very heavily into badge points. For reasons that should be obvious. It's basically getting more materia slots, to use an equivalent. But we will get at least 1 FP and 1 HP upgrade later. I could also cheat, but I really don't need to cheat for the most part in this game. So, get that really quick before I forget. Red Goomba, you're positive you hid the switch, right? Of course, King Goomba. I hid it in the grass outside the fortress. Outside the... You idiot! Why didn't you hide it in here? Mario will find it for sure. Oh, do you think? You might be right. King Goomba, maybe we ought to try to trick Mario before he tries to... Mario! Good fight and all that. I must warn you, however. If you happen to find a strange switch somewhere, you should definitely not press it. It's dangerous. Understand? You what? You already pressed it? So, the paper aesthetic does come up every now and again. Less in this game than in future ones, but this is a good example of it. Bye. Ooh. This is the tiniest fort ever. It's so cute. Dun, dun, dun. So you may have heard me use the term Princess Peach section many times in many games. That term comes from this game. Mighty King Bowser, I've been looking for you. A report, your evilness. Mario defeated the Goomba King. He's headed for Tone Town now. What? Unbelievable. What was the Goomba King thinking? I used the Star Rod to make him a king because he begged me, and Mario whips him so easily? What a wimp. Kammy Koopa, you are sure Mario can never defeat us, right? Oh, please, please, your vileness, try to be calm. Goomba King is small time. I had a feeling he'd fail. Doesn't matter, because while you hold the Star Rod, you are definitely invincible. You could beat Mario with one claw tied behind your back. Yes, yes, very good. By the way, Kammy Koopa, those star spirits we captured don't have any way of giving Mario their power, do they? Please, don't worry yourself. Each is held separately, and each is carefully guarded by your hand-picked subjects. Even Mario can't save all 7 of the star spirits. Who's the closest star spirit to Mario? It's the one at the Koopa Bros fortress, right? If Mario somehow reaches there, can the Koopa Bros defeat him? King Bowser, you mustn't worry. Yeah! It's the Totally Not Power Rangers! As an aside, I actually like the Koopa Brothers better than the Axum Rangers, just personally. Although there's also kind of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing going on here. Oh yeah, we're the coolest of the cool. Psst. Kammy Koopa, are you sure these guys can get the job done? That Goomba King was gigantic, and even he couldn't beat Mario. Pshaw, get real, King Bowser. So apparently these were not actually originally, in the original Japanese, intended as a TMNT reference. They were intended as a whatever Power Rangers is aping reference, which I can't think of the name of it. Forgive me, I don't know the Japanese term, but it's the yellow... You know how the Yellow Ranger always likes curry? It's because the thing that Power Rangers is based off of had the Yellow Ranger guy always liking curry, and that's been a recurring joke ever since. So these guys were originally based on that, and then when it came to the English localization team, and Nintendo of America's localization team has always liked to have fun with their dialogue, they decided to turn this into a TMNT thing a bit. But there's still some Sentai, Super Sentai references there too. Anyways, get real, King Bowser. Yeah, the Goomba King was huge, but he was a total Wibbola. We're nothing like him. Oh my god, Braywin. See, what we've got going on is the power of teamwork. Together we can put the hurt on Mario in seconds flat. Excellent, that's the spirit. Sell it, Koopa Bros. Show our king that special attack you do so well. But not the viewers. We need to make sure they don't see the special attack of the next boss. Ooh. Ooh. This is... Ooh. How'd you like it? King Bowser, how was it? Oh yeah, excellent, really. I'm not easily impressed either. Mario won't have a chance if you finish him with that attack. We'll take King Bowser. By the way, my Koopa Bros, about the captured Star Spirit I locked up in your fortress. Who's guarding him right now? Nobody, sir. I mean, you know, we're here, and so... You idiots! Use your heads! Get back to the fortress and guard the Star Spirit. Yeah, I know. We're not actually at our first Princess Peach section yet. We will be pretty soon, though. This is a good time to admit, as I mentioned earlier, I don't like some of Super Mario RPG's music is okay, but I don't really care for, you know, a decent chunk of it. I'm kind of the same way about this soundtrack. Like, it's inoffensive, and I enjoy a decent chunk of it. But for the most part... It's just whatever. And then there are a few songs in this game that I really love. Like some that just are like, ah, yes. I'm curious of your guys' thoughts on the same concept, but we'll get to more into that later. So now I have the ability to throw my hammer, aka, yeah, the desert. Like all the desert songs, all 3 of them are awesome. The Bowser's Castle, love that song. Mario! I'm so glad you're okay. The town's in an uproar. Zastel just subscribed! I really don't know what we can do about all this. Please, Mario, destroy Zastel! Do him justice. Thank you very much, Zastel. Much appreciated as always. Thank you. Now, if you happen to know where you'd like to put that to show interest, just let me know. Oh yeah, this is a good time to mention something. So I've talked many times about the concept of Yoshi drums, but on the off chance you never heard of it, Yoshi drums is when the music is basically mutated to change how the song plays. You know, sometimes you go underwater, or you know, you hop. The term comes from Super Mario World, where there was a drum track that would play only when you were on Yoshi, and so yeah, hence Yoshi drums. It's when the music is actually literally altered live. It's not a different song. It's just altering the existing song. So I'm going to shut up so you can hear this. I think that's actually the only one I can reach right now, as far as the things. But there's, I want to say 5 or so different Yoshi drum variants on the Toad Town theme. And that's a good thing, because this song would probably get old, given that this is the hub town for the game, if not for that little addendum. Anyways, I do want to show this off. This is Rusty. I mentioned him earlier. This is the Book Geek. He shares a whole lot of random tidbits. And some of these are story related, some of these are gameplay related, some of these are hints for optional things. There's actually quite a few. In fact, there are in total 36 different things that he can share. And each one of them is, you know, pretty cool. And you just kind of talk to him and go down the list. It's cool. I'm not going to do all of these, but I want to mention this, because a lot of the secrets in this game are given by him. One of the things I tend to complain about when it comes to game design is what I call walkthroughitis. When you need a walkthrough to know what to do or how to do it. One of the things I enjoy is when a game builds into the game a method by which you can figure out things without having to go consult a walkthrough. So, Russ T, the message board, the random tattles, and the interactions with the people in town basically gets you across all the information about all the optionals, all the secrets, and all the combinations you can do. We haven't even unlocked cooking yet, for example. And I don't know if that really is plus-worthy, but I wanted to mention it because it's basically the opposite of walkthroughitis. And, in my opinion, good design. Speaking of which, I should go ahead and give a plus to story while we're here. For Tattle. For the ability Goombario's Tattle. Honestly, and I mean this with sincerity, I could see myself giving a second positive to Tattle, because it is just, it's such a constant thing. And again, every zone, every enemy, every NPC in the entire game. And yeah, Bowser's actually a pretty good king. I don't think Ganondorf does any kingly stuff. Oh yeah, so these two toads are lovers. So this is another time to mention something. In Toad Town, there's several NPCs which have, for lack of a better way to put it, recurring stories, or arcs. So these are the two lover toads. Over here we have the martial artist people. Over here we have the traveling toad sisters. Each of these, basically each chapter, will have new and different things to say. By the way, her name is Felicity. If I'm being honest, I don't remember Little Billy. Now this is funny in its own right. There are shops in these games, in both the games. They're kind of unnecessary for the most part. There's only a couple of noteworthy exceptions to that. I like that it's an option, but it does mean that gold is pretty devalued in these games. I wonder what my brother Mario is doing right now. Whoa, Mario, it's you. I'm going to stop doing the accent. It's good to see you. And you're all right. After all that crazy castle craziness, I was really worried about you. I ran outside just as the earthquake started, so I managed to escape in time. Dot, 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 dot. Oh, and who are you? Oh, I'm Goombario. Nice to meet you. I see. Great. Just great. You're on an exciting adventure with Mario. Talk about unfair. See, someone has to look after the house, so I can't leave. Oh well. Take care of Mario, okay? When are we getting our Paper Luigi game? That's going to get even worse in the next game, by the way. So I mentioned the message board. This is what I meant. Princess Peach kidnapped. Castle uprooted. No! And then if you read the back of it... The underground news. Oh yeah, there's another one where the song changes. Mario's Mansion. Yeah, it might be fun. Hey, Parakarry. His name's Parakarry. He's a paratrooper who works at the post office. He's well known for being the slowest mailman around. A slow mailman? That can't be good. Yes, hello, this is the post office. You can read any letters that arrive for you or party members. Let's see. Oh, you seem to have some mail. There you go. Goombario, you were a lot stronger than you looked. We figured you were just some punk Goomba hanging out with Mario. Anyway, you proved yourself to us, and you showed that being good is as important as being strong, so... When you come back, do you think we could be friends? Please say yes. We'll be waiting. Red and Blue Goomba Brothers. Yes, even more flavor lore. This game is just chock full of fluff, by the way. Just absolutely chock full of it. Hey, look. It's a door that will never be relevant ever. Water and dirt, sunshine power, beautiful blooms, beautiful flowers. Hello, my name is Minty. Please enjoy the beauty of this flower garden. I've heard there's a lovely flower we don't have here. Supposedly bulbs have the only known seeds. This is what a bulb looks like. If you find a bulb, could you get seeds for me? Absolutely. No, sorry. When I say fluff, I'm using it like Takoida uses it. It's unnecessary stuff that helps flesh something out, basically. Usually in a lore sense. I don't mean it like filler, which I always mean as a negative. Filler is always bad. Like Shinizaga, he's not bad. But fluff is awesome. Hey, mister, you're a customer, aren't you? Dad's preparing to open the shop soon, so I guess you gotta wait a little while. Hey, what's up? Good to meet you, bud. Ralph's the name. Starting me up a little business in Toad Town. I'm still setting up, though. I want to see you back here when we open, alright? Anyways, thank you very much, Shinizaga. Much appreciate the sub, as always. So, we're already doing a Metroid lore run. The biggest thing I'm waiting on for that is for the Metroid Prime trilogy to come out on something a little bit more playable. Like, right now, that would be a colossal pain to stream. So if I was to do a Metroid lore run, say, tomorrow, or, you know, whenever we finish this one, I would be skipping Prime, which I really don't want to do since a huge amount of the lore of the Metroid series is in the Prime trilogy. But that's already happening. So... I don't remember how I voiced the goblins. I remember it was kind of just like, you know, just kind of throwing the words out there. You know what I mean? But that's all I remember of that. God, it's been a while. Oh, Jesus, Zest. I mean, that's not an impossible thing, Zastil, but my automatic inclination is to say no, just because that would be a huge time sink. Like, God, that would be an absolutely gargantuan time sink. Guild Wars 1 is a very large game, and there's no cheating in any form, in any sense of the word. And there's always the possibility of, if things go badly, us literally losing, like, hours of playtime. You know what I mean? Because of the lack of checkpoints. So, basically, I'm just going to say no. I'm just going to put my foot down and say I'm not doing a Guild Wars 1 lore run, not under the current circumstances. There's too many ways that can go very wrong. I mean, it's not an invalid thought. I've considered it before, Zastil. Back when I was thinking about the WoW lore run, Guild Wars came up as well. So there's where Peach's Castle used to be. Oh, yeah. Peach's Castle used to be here. There's not even a trace of it. How awful. That's fine. This place feels strange and mysterious, doesn't it? If we go east from here, we'll eventually get to Shooting Star Summit. You can tell because, well, I mean... Now, I mentioned that we don't really need to cheat, but I might cheat for a couple things, basically in the interest of speeding things up. And one of the things I might cheat for is just getting me star shards. So, hi. Now, I mentioned how this game is kind of anti-walkthroughitis. If you talk to her, she will give you a hint on where to get something. Either a secret badge or a star shard. And when I say a hint, I mean these are pretty decent hints. In the dry desert town, if you go to the second story, I see you jumping to reach it. You know, that's the kind of hint she'll give. So not insubstantial. This kid, however, well, he's more important. He's the famous Merlot of Shooting Star Summit. He's collects star pieces. So, there are... I forget how many, actually. There are several star pieces in the game. I forget how many. The only purpose in star pieces is to buy badges from him. Thing is, his badges are basically the best gear in the game. For example, protects from poison and dizziness, automatically regen HP, automatically regen MP, makes it possible to see enemies' HP without tattling, makes it so the enemies who do a touch attack to you take damage, makes it so that more hearts happen after battle, make it so more flowers happen after battle, decrease your attack power by 1, but restore 1 HP every turn, significantly more coins than every battle, reduce the FP cost of every attack by 1, and of course increases your attack power by 1. Now, there's only, I want to say, 3 Power Plus badges in the entire game, one of which is right here. And that is huge. As I mentioned earlier, even 1 increase in attack power is gargantuan. That's why it takes a full 25 shards to get that thing. I haven't decided if I'm going to cheat on this yet. I'll think on that a little bit. But it's a nice form. It's basically a form of alternate leveling by getting the star shards. And it's kind of a rewarding you for exploring and navigating and blah, blah, blah. You know, that kind of thing. There's actually a star shard right there, but I can't get it yet because I don't have the equipment for it. So now it's time to go figure out the plot. Because believe it or not, the plot hasn't really been explained yet. I mean, you might think it's go defeat Bowser and rescue the princess, but... I mean, I could, Junior Shire. I usually don't, admittedly. Except for the obvious one in 2, which you kind of have to do. Welcome, Mario. We've been waiting for you. We're the 7 Star Spirits. Our job is to grant the wishes of good people from our home in Star Heaven. A haven, a place high beyond the sky. Now, okay, I gotta interrupt real quick here. This was originally supposed to be the Star Road from Super Mario RPG instead of Star Haven. In fact, as you'll see when we get there towards the end of the game, it's literally a road made of stars. But as I mentioned, when they were repurposing Super Mario RPG 2 into Paper Mario, they had to eject several of the concepts and names that were technically held by Squaresoft, so they couldn't actually use them. So a few things got a real quick rewrite or rename. We'll see another example of that in a minute. We're going to tell you something incredibly important. Please listen carefully. The other day, Bowser and his followers invaded our peaceful Star Haven. They stole our prized treasure, the Star Rod, which we've cared for since the beginning of time. The Star Rod is powerful beyond belief. It can grant any wish. For as long as we can remember, Bowser's been making wishes like, for instance, I'd like to trounce Mario, or I want Princess Peach to like me. Of course, stars ignore such selfish wishes. As a result, his wishes were never granted. Bowser, that fiend. When he found out we were ignoring his wishes, he came and stole the Star Rod so he can grant his own wishes. So, real quick aside again, in the original idea here was that Bowser got the idea to do all this because of Bowser's interactions with Geno back in Super Mario RPG. In other words, the idea being that after all those adventures, Bowser's like, I should go up to that Star Road. He seems content right now, mainly because he defeated you and captured the princess. Soon enough, though, I fear he will wish for more, and then terrible things will happen. Actually, funnily enough, that never happens, but as we've already mentioned, Bowser isn't evil. It is the responsibility of the 7 Star Spirits to keep the Star Rod safe and use it properly. We must get the Star Rod back from Bowser and return it to its rightful place. In order to do this, Mario, we need your help. Sadly, right now you are not strong enough to challenge Bowser. He has made himself all-powerful by making wishes with the Star Rod. He is terrible to behold. Once we 7 Star Spirits are reunited in Star Haven, we can give you the power to fight Bowser, even with his newfound strength, and with our help, you can prevail. Mario, we are... Alas, we've nearly exhausted our power to talk to you. Although it looks like we're here, it's only an illusion. We're using all our strength to communicate with you over a great distance, but even now our strength is fading. We've been caught and are being held by Bowser's followers in different places throughout the Mushroom Kingdom. Please, Mario, first of all, you must rescue us. In order to take the Star Road back from Bowser, and save Princess Peach, we need your help. Please, Mario, you are our last hope, and we will... It looks like things are a lot more serious than I thought. You think the princess is going to be alright? I'm really worried about her. So I mentioned the Princess Peach section. This is the first actual Princess Peach section, although even this is kind of threadbare. The next one's the first real one. Mario's probably hurt. Oh yeah. So I'm just gonna get this out of the way now, and you can yell at me if you want, but I'm gonna give a plus to gameplay and to story for this. To summarize, this is a plus for the Princess Peach sections. Because like any good Princess Peach section, it is a plus to story and to gameplay, since we're actually playing as the person. FF15! Anyways. Something must be done. If only someone could help me. My dear Princess Peach, how are you doing this fine day? It's no use waiting for Mario this time, my dear. We're so high above the sky right now, even Mario doesn't have a chance of reaching us up here. You know, Princess, as long as I have this Star Rod, no one in the Mushroom Kingdom can touch me. You know, the power that grants everyone's wishes? It's mine. Isn't that just wonderful? Imagine what it's like down in your kingdom. Your subjects must be so upset because their wishes aren't being granted. Oh, the one's in 2, easily, Junior Shire. Although this one's still good. Oh, how delightful. They deserve it for the way they've treated us Koopas over the years. If you want anything, all you need to do is ask me. I can grant wishes. Of course, I'll only grant requests I like. Anyways, think about it. You take care, Princess Peach. Enjoy your stay here. You watch yourself, Princess. You better not cause trouble. Yeah. Somebody could help me. See, interestingly enough, Shihali, I don't disagree, but I just have a hard time labeling Bowser as evil. I usually reserve that word for beings that are, worse, right? I see what you're saying, though. I absolutely would see him turning against something like Ganon, who is far more malevolent of an entity. Or Ganondorf, or however you want to think of that. I guess my point is that Bowser is... Good evening, Mind Blast. Well, Bowser is villainous. He has a villainous mindset. He has a selfish mindset. He tends to try and force things to happen, blah, 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 blah. He is still... He's Team Rocket, And I don't mean like Giovanni. I mean Jesse and James. He's just so low tier on the evil scale, right? And again, that is kind of a point in each of the Paper Marios and in the Mario and Luigi series. So this is the final time I'll be bringing up the connection between Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario. That was originally supposed to be Geno. I mean, I'm not sure what there is to share, Ultra Gorth. But I usually don't like to spoil unrelated things on an unrelated stream, so I suppose there's no plans to really talk about it right now, no. So, this is Twink. Again, this was supposed to be Geno. And if you sit back and think about it, this kind of makes this last little tidbit make tons of sense. Imagine what it would be like if Peach reunited with Geno, who is here to help her in this time of need when most of the Star Spirits are all weak or captured. And so Geno, who was able to squeeze in through the ranks, only did so because of his direct connection to Peach, that he specifically reached out to her. They ended up rewriting this so that Twink is actually a brand new Star Spirit who was so weak that he basically slipped through the cracks of the system. And that's the last time I'll be bringing up Super Mario RPG, because pretty much from now on, they branch off into their own thing. It's our job to grant wishes, Oh, you came because I wish for someone to help me? Yes, of course. Oh, that's great. Thank you for coming. Here's my wish. Go right now and take the Star Rod from Bowser. That's a little much for a novice star like me. Maybe one of the honorable Star Spirits from Starhaven could grant a wish like that. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Please ask for something easy. Something a small star can do. And can you take me away from here? Everyone in my castle's been captured, and I have to save them all as soon as possible. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't grant that wish either, I'm afraid. Actually, I just got called up to the sky a day ago, so I can't do big wishes yet. If I were a more splendid star, maybe I could actually help. That's alright. Don't be sad, Twink. You're just pathetic and worthless. Oh, Twink, do you think you could find Mario? I want you to give this to him. It's something that makes the combat actually fun. I'm barely kidding about that. Oh, wait, Twink. One more second. Can you also please tell Mario that I love him dearly? Can you tell him that? Of course. I'll tell him your exact words, Princess Peach. Now, don't disappear. I'll be back soon, so stay safe until I return, okay? Oh, where are you, Mario? Like I said, the next Princess Peach section will be the first real one. Yeah, I know, Zestel. I'm sorry, so sorry. I'm in such a huge hurry. Oh my god, Mario! Again, if this was Geno, this would have some interesting impact, wouldn't it? Oh, thank the stars I found you. How do you do? I'm Twink. Princess Peach asked me to bring you something to you. Let's see, here it is. It's something that makes the combat fun. It lets you use the action command. So from now on, we can do the action command for both attacks and for defense. I don't need the tutorial. I don't need the tutorial. No! God damn it! Did you see that? Oh my god, tutorial on something I know extremely well. God dang it. Yep, that's great. That's great. Yep, that's great. That's great. Yep. This is how it works. Yep, that's great. Oh. Now, this is how this game is superior to Super Mario RPG in a nutshell. I know, right? I think she's insane, Gum Gum. I stand by my earlier statement. I think she's a nihilist. Oh, absolutely, Materia Keeper. It's funny you say that, Takoida, because I like this system. Basically, I've described this before as the in-between between turn-based combat and action combat. And I don't know, I like this system. I think it's nice to have this. Now, there are varying degrees of this, as we will see. So, wait, what? But the wolf is... you... Hang on. Okay, so she has many names, but as long as there's a hint of her, she doesn't die. That sounds exactly like the character you were just talking about. Not the wolf, the one previous. That's why I was confused there. Okay. I mean, that sounds to me like someone who is overly concerned with their legacy, a.k.a. George Washington. So, there's a couple reasons I feel like the action command system works. And I've already mentioned the first and most obvious one, because it's an in-between of turn-based and action RPG. It makes you more involved than just selecting attack, which honestly does get pretty old, even if you have a multitude of options to pull from. You know, having the option to do this and then to make it better is nice. Now, like I said, there's a degree of variability here. So, I'm going to use a direct example. In Mario & Luigi 4, which is Dream Team, the action commands get insane. Like, Takoida says, oh goody, a QTE. This is barely a QTE. It's just a button press or holding left or a couple other things, and that's kind of it. In Mario & Luigi Dream Team, oh my god. You're basically playing an entirely separate minigame for every major attack you do. Like, and then jump, and then kind of move to the right, and kind of catch these guys, or maybe I need to roll up the ball of Luigi's to throw at the enemy, it's extensive to the point of ridiculous. And, if I might be so bold, it's also more mandatory. And that's a key point. In some of the Mario RPGs, and this is more on the Mario and Luigi side of things, you have to do the action commands. Like, you literally have to do the action commands, or else you're screwed. You will be doing less damage than the game expects you to do. Does that make sense? In this game and the next one, Paper Mario 1 and 2, the action commands are nice, but not mandatory. You'll notice I will basically be ahead of the curve through most of it, because for the most part I don't actually need it. Now I say for the most part. There are a few specific points at which, if you don't successfully defend, or you don't successfully attack properly, then you will be screwed. But that's usually like one particular boss in which the action commands are basically mandatory, which I'm okay with. So in short, the fact that it still comes across as more of a bonus damage sort of thing, rather than this is where we've decided the difficulty curve is at, that actually varies. So it's kind of a variable thing, depending on exactly how it's implemented. Now, that being said, I don't know if it deserves a positive in this case, which would be my knee-jerk reaction. It definitely deserves a positive in the next game. But in this one, we'll talk more about it as we go further. Also, I love this. This Magic Koopa is going to defeat me to get a raise. He's just a tutorial on how to use action commands. It's also worth noting that as of the next game, there's a degree of gradient when it comes to action commands. There's nice, and then there's great, whereas in this one, that's not really true except for a few specific abilities. This is a Magic Koopa. Magic Koopas use magical rods, just like Gavel. Magic attacks are no joke. You better take these guys seriously. You'll notice one of the common trends is a lot of enemies in these games have a high attack and not very much HP or defense. So there's a lot of glass cannon enemies in this game. Thank you very, very much, Gavel. Much appreciate the sub as always, and if you'll give me a moment, I will jot that down towards Jade Empire. Like a so. I guess that's just a preference thing to quote. I'm sorry, I know that sounds like such a strange thing, but all I feel like is I'm interacting more with the game. You know? We've actually talked about this concept several times before. And one person actually, I don't think it was you, it was someone else, posited the idea that it's basically every combat is a QTE. And I guess that's technically true, but it just doesn't feel that way to me. QTEs always feel far more arbitrary to me than this. This feels like I'm more engaged in the actual combat, especially since the specific input varies based on the type of attack you're using. And that goes for both your partners and yourself. So he wants it. We now have to go visit Merlon, the mage. Oh, I've been raided all the time, Disco, although only usually by like 5 people at a time. Hello, Just Steve here. I don't think I've ever really raided someone. And yeah, that makes sense, Gum Gum. Although I stand by my earlier statement. So I think Cloud of the Stars mentions another thing that I think is why this feels like it's not QTE to me, because it's not binary, and for the most part, you can't actually fail it. Like if I actually screwed up several jumps. During that. No, Wolf is self-interested in her legacy, is what I said, Gum Gum. Like, I screwed up a few of the QTEs, or whatever you want to call it, the inputs, for both defending and attacking on the Magic Koopa. Now, of course, I managed it. You know, I succeeded at the fight. As I said, you know, they balance the difficulty as if you do not do it. And it's not like I failed to attack the enemy because I failed. As opposed to use another example from a good game, in God of War 2, there are several QTEs where if you fail, you die. Or you have to start the fight over. And enough said, really. Oh yeah, I should probably heal real quick. Yeah, the last boss in this game is actually quite brutal. for quite a while, speedrunners had a hell of a time in this game. If you don't know what I mean by that, the typical route in speedrunning this game is blazing through the game, getting to the last boss, and then praying, because the last boss can just straight kill you. With how incredibly low level you are. You don't want to go out there, it's way too dangerous. Going to Koopa Bros Fortress would be a huge mistake. Definitely don't go. Most of all, though, you shouldn't go ask Old Man Merlin for help. That'd be really bad news for us. I mean, for you. Don't even think about it. He's a funny color for a toad. I've never seen him before. He reminds me of someone, but who? You know, I don't think I want to know this guy. He looks like bad news. He's a funny color for toad. He looks like he's trying to be cool, but he's failing big time. Unlike Deadshot, who is actually cool. Thank you very much, Deadshot. Much appreciate the sub. Thank you. If you happen to know where you'd like to put that towards a future stream for interest, you can just let me know. Otherwise, thank you very much. Yeah, one of the other interesting things about the Paper Marios is the last boss of these games tend to be actually hard. Unlike the Final Fantasy series, which decided to go the route of making the putting the difficulty in optional bosses, and then making the last boss relatively easy. The Bowser fight, the Shadow Queen fight, the Dementio, well, the sort of Dementio fight, and over in the Mario & Luigi series, the final fight against Bowsetta and the Shroob Empress and all that, those are actually pretty hard fights. Even when you are max level, and if you're not doing any of the, the break the game combos, those bosses can still just straight kill you. I might go ahead and cheat for the last bosses in each of these, just to ensure I don't have to fight them again. You know what I mean? In fact, when I was recording footage for the Paper Mario 2 Theater, I came within one round of dying to the Shadow Queen before I actually managed to pull her down. I got really close to losing that one. I was just... They're still setting up. No. Ah. Well, thank you very much, Deadshot. Funnily enough, I have another KOTOR stream planned at some point in the future for an in-depth classic, where we'll actually review it and see what we think of it score-wise. Oh yeah, no, he's no joke. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ultragorth. And thank you very, very much, Narset. Much appreciate the subs, as always. Thank you so much, both of you. Now, Ultragorth, you told me what you want to put that towards, so I'll go ahead and jot that down towards my choice. Give me just a second. And Narset, if you want to put that towards something for a future stream, just let me know, and it shall be so done. Hello, Dude McGuy. Yeah, me too. I used to play the hell out of this back in the day. Not Ruminations, no, Narset. Streams. The Ruminations is a separate thing. That's... We'll be deciding our upcoming Ruminations in October. Why do you keep knocking? I'm telling you, he's out! Oh god. 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 We're gonna skip through this. Oh, Jesus. Oh, it's horrible. Thankfully, there is a skip cutscene button, which I'm using here. Seizure alert, for real. Yeah, I'm gonna try and fix this off camera. I do not know what the hell. Get away, get away. Oh, God. I don't even have seizure issues, and that bothered me. What do you mean, what am I voting on, Ultra Growth? Sorry, I don't understand the question. Oh my goodness. You know what? Let's go ahead and try to fix this right now. So we have that set. Let's try this. Let's see if this fixes it. No! Oh, it's still bad. It's still bad. Oh, God. Honestly, I haven't thought about it recently, Ultragorth, since right now I'm focused on Loreruns. So, that's, I suppose, my answer. I haven't been thinking about it. Here, let's just do that. There we go. Okay, let's see if we can fix this, shall we? Let's try this. Oh, hey, I think that fixed it. I think that fixed it. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Okay. I think it's fixed. I think it's fixed. Okay, so let's go ahead and recapture it there. Come on, it's right there. Is it seriously not gonna... Okay, hang on just a second. What? I swear this was just fixed. Okay, that's getting weird. Give me a sec, guys. Gonna have to get all nitty-gritty here. Let's try this and just see if that works better. Okay. Now let's pull this over here. Oh, that is bizarre. Oh, that could probably take longer than a year, let's be honest. I've been doing this for 8 years. This is the strangest thing. Okay. What in the world? Actually, well, I managed to crash it, so that's something. God dang it. Always with the tech issues on my show. So we're going to chop off the local recording.